Hi, Sarah. How are you today, my dear?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm very good. I'm excited to have you on our call today. Ladies and gents who are tuning in with us, this is Sarah Irwin, and a mutual friend of ours actually linked us up. We do some similar things, modalities that we're interested in and work with. And so I wanted to bring her onto our platform and share her with you. So, Sarah, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll dive in on what it is that you do.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. So my name is Sarah. I am first and foremost a mom of two little ones. I have a background in nursing. I was a nurse for 10 years. I transitioned out of nursing to follow my calling and my passion, which is energy work, a more alternative way of healing. So we look at the mind, body, soul, spirit approach to healing rather than just the mechanics of the body. And through that, I have stepped into Reiki. So I do a shamanic form of Reiki, which is pretty powerful. We can get into that later. I also do craniosacral therapy and I teach yoga and other courses. I do certifications and courses that expand on what it is I do in my practice as well and teach others so they can help heal themselves, help bring comfort to their kiddos, and just make their life a more holistic approach to health rather than just the streamline that we've been born and raised to know. So,
Absolutely. Fantastic.
yeah.
Okay. And so for our listeners, before we started recording, we were actually giggling a little bit about being in work mode versus mom mode. And so Sarah was saying that she was just like, give me a minute here. I just got to like go into work mode. And I asked her what that looked like. And she said, it's literally just like, it's almost compartmentalizing, right? Like, okay, I'm now channeling in work and being in that space and the connecting to the energy of that. So I thought that was really neat. So
Yeah, and for me, it's like putting on a different mask, right? We wear so many masks every day, especially energetically. We have this mask for when we're in front of our kiddos, we're that mom or that individual we need to be for our kids, and we go to work and we put on another mask, whether that is a receptionist, a nurse, a teacher, whatever that mask is to get through that environment. And we also do this when it comes to traumas and shame and the pandemic, right? We put on a mask for maybe survival to get through. And when we come home, we take those masks off sometimes and we have all these emotions and energies that arise. And that's where I like to come in and help others take off those masks on the table and just be in themselves, be who they are without having to put on a mask to survive the day, to appear happy and joyful, and whatever it is they need to do to survive those moments in time and just be and be very open and heal. And when we were speaking about myself having to shift, I think my nursing background had a big hand in being able to do that. We compartmentalize as nurses. We don't bring all the trauma home that we witness in a day. And when we go from mom mode, which is like virtual learning right now, and mom, can I
all
have
the
another
steps.
popsicle? Can I go outside and ride my bike? Can I put the trampoline sprinkler on? All those things. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I like to just take that nice deep belly breath and just ground myself, feel the seat under me, and then just, okay, mom mode. It's just like putting on that cape. Here we go.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
leave that mom mode, come into the healing realm and the professional realm. And
Yes. And
it's
do you feel
fun.
like, in a sense, you have to take off that mom mask? Like we all, we do. We fill different roles, and we, as much as we try to be in our essence and grounded and really show up truly as ourselves, there are certain things and certain ways that even just the way we speak to our children is different than the way we speak to maybe our partner or our friend groups or our colleagues or whatever. And that's a necessary part of life, even though we're trying very much to show up truly as our whole self. Do you find that you still need to kind of like, that mask needs to get off over here so that I can be totally present?
I think parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we still want to bring that empathy and understanding with us.
Yeah.
as we know, we treat our own children a little bit differently than other kiddos. We may have more tolerance for a kiddo that's just coming in rather than the kid that's been asking you for screen time since 6 a.m. in the morning, right? It's so we put things, I feel like we just hang them up for a little bit to be in that, to meet the energy of the person we're coming in. And sometimes we need to have that mom energy or that mom mask in practice. So it's very individual. I see a lot of kids and infants in practice too. So I'll wear that mom mask because it's a familiar energy for them. They recognize mom, she's safe. And we have mom in the room with us. So we kind of jive back and forth. And it's kind of like this fine line where you wear the mom mask, but you're also a professional. And there's that boundary that you create as well.
Absolutely.
I think it's important to differentiate between, you know, just completely stripping that mask off and now I'm going to be professional and maybe a little bit cold and stern, whereas to bring that energy of mom with you into a practice, not necessarily the mom you see doing the dishes and yelling at the kids, maybe just fighting. But yeah, it's fun. It's definitely fun to just be creative that way.
And it comes back to every time that there's a client, right? It's all about connection.
Absolutely.
Right. And that energy connection is where it begins. And I see some kiddos and some teens and stuff in what I do as well. And that is very much not just being relatable, but actually connecting.
Absolutely. And I find some kiddos, a lot of the kids I see have had medical backgrounds. So if I put on my nursing or my professional kind of mask, so to speak, it intimidates them.
Absolutely.
And it's very scary. So if I kind of joke around and be silly, like I had a conversation with my daughter, what makes Reiki appointments fun for kids? She's like, being fun, just being silly. And so we try to bring in some humor. And like you said, it's very individual and making that connection is super important. So I think with anyone, when we walk into a space, we've all had a moment where we've known that there's either danger or you've just been spoken about, or we've had that feeling of, okay, I don't want to be here right now. And it's just using that and growing from that experience and beginning to recognize that energy of, okay, this is what this person is maybe needing. This is how I can connect with them. It's reading their energy in order to learn how to connect with them. And it takes practice and kind of navigating.
And recognizing that feeling, because I'm sure for me and as well for you, that when people do walk in the door, they're there often because they have tried other things. This is, for many clients, a last resort. Right. And so that perception of, I don't want to be here. I'm anxious. I don't know what's in front of me. I feel uncertain. Right. So it is really knowing that feeling, because we've all been there, but also seeing that and massaging that connection in almost immediately for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where it's, like you said, it's learning to read it, because a lot of times we can misinterpret that as coming off maybe hostile or cold. And really it's like this fear and unknowing. So I like to say, a lot of people say this is voodoo and it's okay if that's what you think. Like, and I try and like break the ice if I feel that way somehow. And it's all about making people comfortable.
Yes. Yep.
It's
so that they can open for the healing, right?
Exactly. Really, when it comes down to us as humans, we all just want to be seen and heard. That's two things that we all are longing for, is to be seen and to be heard. And so if we can make that connection early on, I feel like it not just allows them to be at ease and open up for their appointment, but it also enhances the session itself. And the healing is exponentially greater than if they were closed off and feeling dis-ease within your office space or your working space.
For sure. Absolutely. Excellent. So Sarah, tell us what it is. So you have mentioned a few different modalities that you work within. And I'm familiar with Reiki, but if you want to start there and kind of tell us about your yoga practice and is it craniosacral massage?
Yeah, CST or craniosacral, yeah.
Okay, if you could share a little bit on each of those, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So Reiki is something that I got into when I was little, and I didn't know what it was until about 2015. I'm like, oh, this has a name. This is what it is. This is what I've been doing all these years. I had no clue. So Reiki is just what I like to call almost like an energy alchemy. It is shifting the energetics within someone using their own energetic system to create harmony and balance on not just their physical body, but their energetic body and their spiritual body. It's bringing ease and fluidity throughout the entire body system itself.
Right.
And with doing so, a lot of research and things I've seen in my own practices and when I was working was that there's this correlation between the physical body and the energetic body. And when there is slowing or a blockage or a focus, an imbalance within the body somewhere, whether that is through thought or no longer serving you. So for example, to keep it really simple, I'll use the example of one of my clients when I was a nurse. She had lost her husband. And through that, about a couple of weeks later, maybe a month later, she began to develop these chronic chest infections. And she kept coming back, and we could not clear these chest infections. They just were reoccurring. And she was given all these different antibiotics, and it was finally like 9 months later. And I sat down on the chair and I looked at her and I said, what happened around the time where these began? And she goes to me, she's like, I lost my husband. I'm like, ooh, all the heart chakra. And the heart chakra is correlated with the lungs. And she was having bronchial infections. And so by the end, to speed it up, fast forward, she begins counseling and begins to work on her heart chakra, the energy within her heart and her lungs, because they're correlated, and the infections go away.
Yes.
She created balance and restored that energy flow within the heart from that grief that she was experiencing. And, energy that's stagnant becomes malignant. It forms dis-ease or disease within the body.
Yeah.
And so when we do Reiki, or in my case, shamanic Reiki, I call in ancestors, I call in guides and angels. We work with light. It's just kind of all the modalities that I've learned throughout my shamanic training. I bring it in to individualize the appointment. But the baseline is just allowing that grief to move through and release, or allowing maybe trauma that's stored in the womb to release and move through, to enhance fertility, to release any pelvic inflammation, painful periods, cysts, indigestion as well. When we're working in that area too, may be a factor. So it's just really fun to work with the energy of the human body. And with Reiki, that's our main focus, is the energetics of it, as you know. Yeah. Just creating that harmony. And a lot of people who come onto the table, they describe it as kind of like a trance-like state. They are aware of what's going on. However, they are also at the same time feeling as though they're in this deep, deep sleep, and they're seeing lights, and they're hearing messages, and they're feeling energy shift and move and reconnect within the body. And it's just this undescribable sensation that leaves you feeling so much lighter and so in tune with your body, your mind, your spirit, and who you truly are. It's like you're just peeling off a layer or a backpack. A lady described it. I just feel like I took off my backpack of stuff I haven't been able to let go of.
For sure.
And now as I'm sitting up, it's like I feel so much lighter. Like I can breathe deeper. I can move with more ease. And it's that kind of feeling that the shamanic Reiki works. And with kids too, it's the kids that come to me are having depression and anxiety or severe panic, and we work with the energy to kind of decompress the nervous system. And that's where craniosacral actually comes in, because with craniosacral therapy, we work to decompress the nervous system through the craniosacral system. So I work with the vagus nerve that runs, it's what every nervous system in the body is connected to, is the vagus nerve. It's your main nerve that runs from the brainstem all the way down to around the tailbone. And so everything is connected. You have everything from the throat, the brain, your lungs, your heart, your digestive system, your reproductive system, everything's connected to it. So if you've been in a car accident or have had a concussion or a back injury, anything that may cause dis-ease within that circulatory system, that's where we come in and we work with not only the fluid, the craniosacral fluid that runs through those nerves and through the bones, through the spine and through the crown of the skull. We actually work with gentle manipulation of the skull as well. So with really, really gentle hands-on techniques, we hold the skull to just relieve it of any tension, to allow the fluid to then begin to move freely and more effectively through the craniosacral system. So I've worked with individuals who have been in severe car accidents, like we're talking, was in a coma for 6 weeks. And when he came and did some energy work as well as craniosacral therapy, and he was only able to sit. He was in so much pain. So as he's sitting, we're watching, I'm doing some craniosacral holds, and he's telling me he feels the tension and the pressure in his skull from his brain injury begin to dissipate, to lessen within the skull, and he's having more clarity, and he's feeling the nerves just firing in his arm and then settling down. And it was just so fascinating. It's something that's fantastic for not only those modalities, for not only those symptoms, but I also tend to bring it into the shamanic practice if I'm finding there's a kiddo that is having a lot of anxiety, or an adult that's having a lot of anxiety, or a teen. And we use specific holds to help. We work with TMJ as well. It's been really awesome, as well as teeth grinding. And then my favorite is using it for babes. I love working with babes. And craniosacral is great for like latch. We've had moms come in, and as they come in, they're complaining about saying that, I just don't know what to do. They've been to the lactational consultant, they've been to a chiropractor, but their infant latch isn't right. Their infant's not feeding properly. And it's like they have a little bit of tongue tie, but not enough to have anything done. And so we release through the jaw, magic happens. And
that's so cool.
The one little guy that came, we released the jaw, and all of a sudden all he wanted to do was feed. He stuck his tongue out farther than his mom's ever seen it happen, ever seen it stuck out. And he had a perfect feed, and his mom is sobbing, because she's like, it doesn't hurt. For the first time, it doesn't hurt. And they didn't have to come back. It stuck. And I've had little ones with their skull was a little bit, it wasn't symmetrical. And actually their entire spine, they were in a C shape. They were so imbalanced from birth trauma that they were in a C shape. And after the third appointment, we noticed significant change throughout. But after the third appointment, we got it where he was able to move both of his arms on his own up and down and in unison, and his legs were kicking at the same time, which wasn't happening before. He was just a happy baby. His digestive system, like he exploded on the table, which we celebrate those things, because that means things are working. And he was just eating, and mom just emailed me and said, like, he's sleeping, he's eating, he's continuing to move everything symmetrically. And it's just, I love that, because babies can't lie, right? They can't lie. And so you're seeing these results, and you're seeing moms that are just beside themselves and so worn out, and you're able to help both of them. It just not only help with the babe's functioning ability, but help them bond deeper, because now it's like they've been able to help when they felt so helpless.
Yeah.
And so I love that. So craniosacral and
that's
shamanic,
so
it's
cool.
just, I love it. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what does shamanic mean?
Yeah. So shamanic to me means that individual or that state between what is in our physical realm and what is in the unknown.
Right.
We're merging the universe into our physical realm. We're going in between. We're moving up and through and down and around that space,
Right.
which we can't tangibly, you know what I'm trying to say.
That
Yeah, that's a tongue twister for me.
is, that's a good one.
Yeah, but we can't physically touch, or we don't logically see here. And so we're bringing in different things, and it's just this entire plethora of healing and resources and energy that we can tap into to enhance our own quality of life and the quality of life of others. And
so I need to do some research on that, because I am not shamanic qualified, but calling in the guides, calling in angels, calling in everybody, right? It's something that is part of the kanji that I do at the very beginning. So I'm interested, just like if that's different, or if it's like Reiki, like you said, like, oh, I've just always done it, right? If it's just something that I've just kind of, it's just kind of like looped in.
Exactly. Well, and then we bring in like some practices. So as I'm working, I'll sense that maybe there's shackles around someone's ankles from a past life. So there's energetic shackles. So I do like a shamanic surgery to remove those shackles, and I work in a way to release that not only from this lifetime, but lifetimes past. So we heal generations, like 8 generations before, 8 generations behind, and do like energetic surgery. So I've had like what felt like I was pulling out like sheets of like metal out of someone's neck, and they were just piled on top of each other like a wafer. And as I was pulling them out, all of a sudden I felt like the last one pull, and there was a release, and I knew I was done. And she just began to inhale, and then she dry heaved for like 15 minutes. So it's just like that shamanic release, and those tools that I've learned. And I used to study Peruvian shamanism. So it was calling in the serpent, the jaguar, and all those other animal entities.
Cool.
It's fun.
I've done psychic surgery, which sounds similar to that shamanic energy surgery. And it's interesting the way that things show up around and on the body that can be released that otherwise. How would you do that, right? There's people that I'm like, there's literally something there that literally, like, I can't see it, or like you can't see it, but it's there. It's there, and it's the same as if something were literally tied around you.
Exactly. Well, for me, I get the vision of the shackles, and I can energetically feel them. And then when I release them, I'll talk to them afterwards, and a lot of the times they're correlated directly with what's happening in their life. I feel like the shackles, it was, I can't seem to get ahead. I feel like I'm constantly being pulled back, or I can't step out of my comfort zone. Like it's like there's a physical bind. And so
ankles represent, and ankles represent being stuck.
Exactly.
Like that's so cool.
Really fun. And then so other than that, I teach yoga, which is super fun. I bring the shamanic and as well as the energy work into the practice. So it's kind of a unique class I teach. We do a meditation beginning and end, but we also work with the meridian system. So every pose is not passive. So we have very active poses. So we're pressing through the fingertips to activate the meridians, and it's like we're pushing beams of light out through every orifice of our body. We're pressing light out. We're opening the heart. We're physically moving and shifting the energy within us, which we do in yoga anyways, but we just go deeper into that, and we're bringing in some Tai Chi movements as well into practice. And so it's really fun. And, you know, it's what I love about teaching yoga specifically is I tend to go in with a plan. And then as people show up with class, I start to read the energy of the space, and everything I plan just goes out the door. And it's just a very organic creation of that class in that moment to suit who is showing up today and how, or what rather, they require. And so it's very fun. I've taught classes where everyone just starts sobbing, and it's been interesting, but it's interesting. I mean, like, it's to hold space,
Mm-hmm.
and just to allow others, just giving them permission to hold space, rather than, you know, when someone's crying, we want to just hug them and stop what we're doing to let them know they're okay. But as soon as we get hugged, we tend to stop.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to just block that emotion from processing. So it's just granting each individual permission
Yes.
to continue on their mat in their own space, in their own energetic bubble, even if the person beside them is sobbing, and giving that person who's sobbing permission to continue on their mat, have a seat, lay down, or walk off their mat and come back and just give me a wave or give me a nod if they need me at that point. And so it's been very powerful and really fascinating to see. And a lot of the Shavasana at the end has been like visions, and I'll go around and do some Reiki at the end of class as well. And it's fun. I love it. And I should get doing it now that we can.
Yeah, no kidding. And so then, like, do you run it as a course in that, like, you sign up for 6 weeks, or?
Yes, so I've done both. I've done just drop-in classes, and I've also done where you sign up. With COVID, I was working out of a studio. I left the studio. I was getting too burnt out. So I left the studio and just took the time to just kind of reconnect with myself and my purpose for teaching again. Mm-hmm. And so now I've been asked to actually restart, and it's looking like I may be doing either drop-in classes at the park, or looking for a space.
Okay.
So it depends what's available. It depends what's coming up. I've done online too, but I find it's hard to read the energy of everyone who needs it at that moment. So I prefer in person, but I've also done like bridal showers and stuff like that. And we have a little bit more fun that way.
Oh, that's
fun. It's basically, I work, if people are asking, I will do my best to support and provide. So
that's fantastic. Oh,
supply and demand, I guess.
What's that? Sorry?
Supply and demand, I guess.
And I honestly, the universe, she shows up in the way that, and when we're open, right? The opportunities, when they're there, they'll just fall onto you, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
If you're open, and if you're in alignment with your own chakras in your own system, those opportunities are able to show up, because we can't heal anybody else when we need healing. So when you mention needing to take a step back from that teaching piece, right? Knowing, okay, I can't connect here until I connect fully here, and then I can move outward from here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big believer, and I stick to, if I'm feeling as though I cannot hold space for you effectively, and I feel like I may be pushing all my stuff onto you, I will not show up for that class. I will reschedule, which I don't think it's maybe happened once in all the years of teaching where I'm like, I'm not in a space where I can hold space for others right now.
For sure.
And I'm very transparent about that.
Yeah.
So it's because, you know, just because we're a healer or we work with energy, everyone needs that time and space. We're not immune to needing healing and help and therapy and all those modalities ourselves. So it's just listening to what we need as well, so we can better serve everyone else. Like Absolutely. You said, we have to be connected within before we can extend ourselves outwards.
Absolutely. I was once a healer friend of mine once told me, and he's a really old dowser. His name is Lloyd Graham. Fantastic.
I know Lloyd.
You know Lloyd.
Lloyd my mentor at the age of 7. He gave me my dowsing rods. He custom made them for me.
I have dowsing rods from him as well.
Oh, so amazing.
Incredible dowser.
Yeah.
He came to our place before we even built. We were like, okay, find the geopathic stress lines, find all. So yeah, he is. Anyways, he was the person who told me, if I'm not at a 14, I can't come.
Yeah.
A 14 out of 10.
Yeah.
And that was like eye-opening for me, where it's like, if I am not above and beyond where I would like to be, if I'm not energetically so charged, I can't be in a place when you're depleted or needing something or the energy is lower vibration. And I was just like, wow, that was a really beautiful lesson for me, in that I have to be on for me to show up and be the best thing, or be in the best space myself, so that I can create that or help create that, facilitate that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's incredible. That's so funny.
We'll have our own dowsing rods for mine. That's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh.
He's a great mentor. He came to our farm as well. And I remember him still looking. I was sitting on the couch when I was a little girl. And I remember him just looking at me, that quizzical look, like,
something about her.
I know. And then he just convinced my mom to let me just let her hold the dowsing. Let her do this for a second. And he gave them to me, and they just went whoosh. Like, see, I told you. Yeah. So he taught me how to hone in on my energy, so I stopped like blowing up the microwave on my dad. And
right. But that's, and he's the one who showed me as well, just like how to push energy back in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah, he's fantastic. I learned so much from him. So
yes, absolutely. Okay, awesome. So Sarah, if anybody is looking to get a hold of you and seek out some of the modalities that you help with in healing, what would be the best way to do that?
Yeah, so you can visit the website, which is myalternativewellness.com, or you can find me on Instagram, which is Alternative Wellness Kincardine, or Facebook. I'm really more active on Instagram because I like to connect live with people. But the website has our courses, and you can book everything online through the website as well. And Facebook, you'll find me popping in as well. But send me a message. I'm always up to chatting or answering questions, or, if you need anything, or if maybe we don't connect and you might want to know if I know someone who does this. I love to connect people in the community as well. So feel free to message me for anything you may need. So yeah.
Sure. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for collaborating with me, my dear. It's been an absolute pleasure. And you have a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of tools under your belt. And I got to come try that craniosacral massage.
Oh, yeah.
I might even come to you for a Reiki treatment. I mean, it's almost, somebody said to me, like, can't you do Reiki on yourself? And I said, well, yeah, like, it's a pretty handy thing. I'm like, but it's like, I can cook for myself too, but sometimes going out, I mean, nobody does it anymore because you can't.
No.
Like going out and having somebody cook the meal and do the cleanup, and you're just there to enjoy. I'm like, that's the difference between like doing my own Reiki. Like I can nourish myself, I can balance myself, I can do all the things, but sometimes I just want to go out for supper kind of thing, right?
Exactly. It's like when someone makes you a sandwich, it's so much better than the sandwich that you made yourself.
100%.
Like, but yeah, I actually combined craniosacral and shamanic Reiki together into one juicy session. So if that's something you want, we can definitely be honored. That'd be so fun.
That would be so fun. Okay, awesome. Well, let's do it. Thank you again for joining us, Sarah. This has been an absolute treat. I hope you have a fabulous weekend in front of you. Right now, the sun is shining, but hopefully it stays.
Yeah, it's gorgeous here. So I might walk down to the beach because we're right there. So
perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, my dear. Take care.
Take care.